What I'm using here is a dip nib. Let's see if I can figure out the number on here. You can get them at any Michaels. It is a, I think, 107 or 101 Hunt dip nib, and I'm just using Higgins ink. And the thing with this is that the nib is split, and so when I press down, the split metal opens to make a thicker line. And there's a little tiny reservoir, but as I run out of the ink while I'm drawing, see, I have to go and dip it again into my my ink. And I have the ink well away from my table, so if and when it falls over, it doesn't get onto my my piece. Now we've actually seen the drawing board itself is covered in ink splatter, so this doesn't always work. But if I take the nib to the side, as you saw with the pants, I can get a thinner line, and I'm filling in by pressing down a bit more. So we're filling in the boots. I took a inking class in college, Savannah College of Art and Design, and we worked with 3 basic different inking styles. A brush, which you need a good $20, $25 brush that's very thin and takes lots of care. The next step is one of these dip nibs, and then you also use a micron. You're seeing that I'm filling the space below the panel. I put little X's where I'm going to fill in, go back into Photoshop, and use the fill tool to fill in all the black, so I don't have to deal with it now. The black marks that I put there were just filler because I didn't put the figure far enough down, so I'm using a crosswalk as filler, and I do adore doing the fire hydrants. They're a lot of fun to draw, and it's a nice way of showing that the figure is outside. That and maybe a no parking sign. Come on, put it in there, you know you want to. Now I'm moving on because I'm probably going to use a micron for the rest of the background for that panel. I found one of my professors used the term meat and potatoes. You don't always want to eat filet mignon all the time. You need some potatoes to level it out. So the filet mignon, or the meat, is the one panel that's heavily detailed, and then the rest of it can be close-ups or simpler shots because you don't want the entire thing to be overly detailed. And you can see that I press down harder. I make that thicker line. There you go. And I'll generally do one panel that is a full background establishing shot. The camera, which is what you term, there's a lot of movie terms with comics. The camera is far away from the figure, and so you can get more of their surroundings, and that's the establishing shot. And then I've got more close-ups, fuller faces, and close-up shots that are faster to draw and simpler, but it kind of balances everything out. And so you'll generally see that I'll have I usually mess up on hands and drawing that symbol in there, or labris. Oh no, it's not a back symbol, it's a labris, two-headed axe used by the Amazons, as far as I knew. Later on I found out that it is also used by a lot of feminist groups, not feminist groups, feminist groups as well, but lesbian groups. So I decided not to do the marketing scheme of making labris t-shirts, because I didn't want some false advertising. What I'm doing now is I did that arc, and now when I ink it, I want to make sure that there's a bit of a halo around everybody, and all of the points match up, so when I fill, it doesn't go into any places I don't want it to go. And this is the open panel, because I just didn't want to do a background. I probably should have done a background of a shopping mall or at a grocery store. But this open panel kind of, it adds some different elements to it. The child screaming and walking by is outside of the strip almost. There's a lot of I don't know, you could get into deep meanings and innuendo, but we're just going to leave it to the fact that I'm lazy. And I've actually, for this one, the kid didn't really have a gender, but as I ink it, I put in some more detail, and the hair got a little bit nuts, and I decided just on a whim that I wanted to put a skirt in there, and have that skirt falling back a little bit to emphasize that the kid is leaning into it. The kid does not want to go, so this skirt is hanging down. I think originally the kid was supposed to be a boy, but I didn't really run into any screaming children at the grocery store, but I thought it was an irony that there were so many kids at the grocery store while I happened to be buying condoms, that it kind of set up this commentary on where I am in my life and what my priorities are. Kids are great. I like them. I like playing with them. They're a lot of fun. I love giving them back. I have other stuff that I need to do at the moment, and eventually I will have a kid, but not for the next, 5 more years. I put my reaction shot in this panel, that I'm reacting to the child, and so in the last panel, when I don't have a reaction, that kind of sets the humor, emphasizing the joke with the lack of reaction that I've got. I have no idea if that works or not, but just trying to set a feel to it. And sometimes I forget to fill in the blacks, so I'm filling in the blacks as I go with this one. Trying to get those hands out. The splayed hands are, I've started to use a lot for the reaction of shock and fear. You draw something so often with these boots. I don't know how many times I've drawn these boots. And I actually, the actual boots, the New Rock boots, are much more detailed. When I first started drawing the New Rock boots in the cartoons about my mom sending them to me, I tried to put all the detail in there. I tried to have all of them. I think I'm trying to show a little bit more of how the dip nib works in this when I press down, having showing that thick line, but that light bleached out all of the pencils, so you can't really see. You can see the pencils in the shadow, but I can't really turn off all the lights to ink. I kind of have to see it. So hopefully the next tutorial will be a little bit more, I don't know, easier to see. And I love doing that little button nose. Couldn't figure out if I should be smiling in that scene or not. Whether I should still have the residual horror on my face of the prospect of conceiving. And having those hatched lines, that's dragging the nib to the side, which can get you in a lot of trouble, because if it catches, then it'll spray ink everywhere. And many a piece has been lost. But with the wonders of Photoshop now, no matter how much ink you spill on the page, you can kind of save it. There is some salvageability, but it takes a little bit of extra work, and we all know that I just don't like extra work. I won't even go back to fix the spelling unless it's going into print, which I need to go work on editing book 3 so that I fix all the spelling in it before it comes out in February, I think.